David Bay here for MuscularDevelopment.com. We are at the 2014 Olympia weekend. I am here with another Team MD member, Louis Yerdell, better known as the Big Sexy. Just wrapped up some of the women's events here. We had fitness, figure, bikini, physique, and women's bodybuilding prejudging today. Now, it seemed like each division kind of came down to just a small handful of people. You know, sometimes in call-outs, we see 4 or 5 people. You can kind of get a feel of who's going to place where by how the judges line people up. But it really looked like, you know, each division came down to a 2-person race or 3 people. Let's start off with fitness. You know, they called out the top 3, and the fitness round was just the physique round today. There were no routines. The top 3, Tangi Johnson, Bethany Cisternino, and Oksana Grishina. How did you see that going down?
Well, first of all, I liked it when they came out just the 3 because it made it kind of exciting. Like, these are the 3 important people, kind of set them aside from everybody. But I really like Bethany Cisternino's look and everything, her flow and her physique. But like you said, you know, I think we were talking about it there earlier, when it comes down to it, the routine is worth half your score or more. And that's where Tangi usually excels. And if they're even, because they brought them back out again for like later confirmation, just Bethany and Tangi. So I think it's between those 2. So Bethany's got a really killer routine.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wasn't aware of until we covered the Tampa show earlier on this year is that at the Arnold this year, Bethany, was actually in first place after the physique round. Lost some ground, ended up in 4th after her routine. Really polished up that routine for Tampa, so look for her to really bring it tonight. It's the first time in 8 years that Adela Garcia hasn't been here, so it really leaves it open as far as who's going to bring it for the routine tonight. Now, you said we saw, you know, Oksana not get called out in that final 2, but is from a routine standpoint, you know she's going to bring it tonight.
Yeah, no, I think she was the physique round. She was like 4th or 5th at the Arnold. And we know what happened there, you know. Yeah. So she doesn't have to nail in the physique round. In fact, if she's sitting in 3rd, she's sitting pretty to win the Olympia.
All right, well, moving on to the next division, we had bikini, another division where a lot of good competitors, but it looked like it came down to just a few people. They brought out 6 people in the first call-out, but Ashley Kaltwasser and Olympia rookie Janet Leyu sat in the middle the whole time. They shifted Stacey Alexander to one of the middle 2 spots, moved her back out. Did you see it as just an Ashley-Janet race?
I think so, because I think they brought them back out again at the end. I always pay attention to that after everyone's done with it, bring them back out, and they brought those 2 back out. I was surprised to see Janet there. And when we were doing the play-by-play, I think I said, you know, this is a great physique. I just don't know if she's going to get called out with these other girls who kind of have that star power. But she is a gifted athletics athlete.
Yeah, so. Janet's one of these girls. She won the model search they had last year, over 90-some girls, then won her pro card at Nationals. And one of the things that really stood out to me is, you guys will know at these shows, the bikini girls come out, and a lot of times, you know, not to their discredit, but a lot of them look the same. They're so good, it's hard to pick and choose who's going to be the winner. You know, what separates one girl from the next. Janet walked out at Nationals and among a couple hundred bikini girls, and she stood out like that. It was like, there's your clear winner right there, overall, done. So that speaks volumes about how good she really is. To me, I had said I could see her in the top 5 this year. Thought she would have been in the top 5 at the Arnold, slipped down to 7th. But yeah, she's looking at possibly being in the top 2. And the interesting thing that a lot of people might not know is that we've never had a repeat bikini Olympia champion. So you know, Ashley Kaltwasser, would be the first if she did a back-to-back. But we could definitely see a new bikini Olympia tonight. Moving on to the figure round. Another story of where they seem to narrow it down to just Candace and Nicole.
Yeah, it was really crazy because there's a lot of girls that were right there. You had Latoya, you had Candace Lewis, Ann Tone, Jen Strobo, and all those different girls were really good. But you did, like I said, at the end they brought out Candace and Nicole, and I just think Nicole just has, everything's just popping everywhere. Muscles are rounder, more shapely, and her structure I think is flawless.
Now, talking about structure, one of the girls that really jumped out to me, and a lot of the guys on the forums thought so as well, she did get in the first call-out, didn't get that final look, Candace Lewis. To me, structurally, she's flawless. What does Candace Lewis have to do to move up into that 1 or 2 spot?
I just think she needs to keep coming in consistently that good. I think that's the best I've ever seen her. I've seen her a little bit off at shows, you know, maybe a little too flat or whatever, but that's the best, fullest, and tightest I've ever seen her at a show. And to me, her and Latoya Watts, their physiques are almost like I'm looking in a mirror, you know.
Just crazy V-tapers. Sydney Gillen also has one of those crazy V-tapers. So, but again, it looks like it's going to be between Nicole and Candace Keene for your first place. Moving on to women's physique division. another division. They did the first call out, and they brought out only 2. This was a highly debated topic on musculardevelopment.com between Juliana and Dana. 2 totally different physiques there, but it looks like it's going to come down to those 2. I mean, what do you think? If you got to compare these 2 physiques, how are you analyzing it, and who are you putting in first place?
They both have great physiques, like you said. I think they both have some structural flaws, but they also have structural greatness as well. Juliana, I think her lower body, or especially her quads, overpowers her upper body, whereas Dana tends to have a little thicker bit of a waist, and Juliana is obviously a lot tighter through there. It just comes down to, did Juliana knock Dana out? The champion. If it's still Miss Olympia or Mr. Olympia, you got to knock him out. You can't just beat him by a little bit. And if Juliana did beat Dana, I think she only beat her by a little bit. I think Dana repeats.
Yeah, to me, Dana was definitely better than she was last year. The big knock on Dana is always her legs. Now, we know Dana doesn't have the sweeping quads that Juliana or some of the other girls in the division has. They are noticeably better than they were last year. She did put on some size. You can't create a sweep when genetically it's not there. So credit to her for making improvements in an area that sometimes can be difficult. I mean, personally, if I have to pick, and Rob's probably going to watch this video and hit me in the back of the head, if I have to pick, I prefer Juliana's flow just a little bit better than Dana. And it's kind of an apples and oranges thing. And in a physique division, in bikini and figure, we see a lot of girls that have similar physiques. And this physique division, despite a lot of these girls being as competitive as they are, there's still some variances in the physique. I don't think too many people are going to complain if it goes one way or the other. I think a lot of guys and a lot of girls maybe thought that Juliana was going to have this huge edge coming into this show, being that she downsized a little the critique that she had last year. But when you put those 2 side by side, I think it was pretty close. I don't think it was a dominating thing one way or the other.
There's a lot of different looks in the class, and some of the people did really well last year. We're in the 3rd and 4th calls this year. Patricia Mello, in particular, and Tony West. We're kind of far down now. Note that Iron Mag athlete Sabrina Tether was in the 2nd call. Looks to be sitting in the top 6 as of right now.
Yeah, well, congratulations to Sabrina. Looked fantastic as always. Moving on, into the women's bodybuilding. We're going to wrap it up here with women's bodybuilding. In my opinion, we didn't see the dominating Iris Kyle that we've seen for so many years. She came out, not to take anything away from her, she still looks great, but when they put her in that lineup, it wasn't this, there's your dominating, there's your 9-time Miss Olympia, she's making a run for 10. I think it's going to be really tight again between her and Alina Popa. I'm sorry if I'm screwing up that name, and I think Alina might actually have the edge.
I think Alina could have done it. But I think if she was to do it, she would have to have like Anna Frida's conditioning to beat her. She had the same like conditioning letdown she had last year. And it's not sharp enough. She's got great fullness, very pretty, comparatively. And Iris Kyle just, she kind of left the door open, and she didn't hit it. And I think, I'd like to Alana Ship, actually.
Yeah.
She's what bodybuilding's about, conditioning, symmetry, everything.
Yeah, you guys will see this. This Alana Ship, smaller girl for the division, still made the first call out. She's noticeably smaller than the rest of the group. I called her little Dexter. I mean, she has everything. If there was a female equivalent of the 212 division, whatever they would put it as, I think she'd clearly be your champ. One of the things that I would like to point out before we get going here is the level of conditioning that we saw in the female bodybuilding. Every year with the men's bodybuilding at every level, national level, IFBB shows, there seems to be a lack of guys who are really, really peeled, and we just saw a ton of girls just absolutely shredded today.
Yeah, it was. We were just sitting there, with the exception of that guy in front of us who kept standing up for 15 seconds. But other than that, I mean, especially Anna Fridas, we're just kind of like, oh my God, how do I write this down and describe what we're seeing on the stage? Because she was when she turned around from the back, the whole audience was like, I got hit by one of those priests that does the thing like this, Sharugan, and the guy, everyone falls over. Everyone's just like, oh my God. That's the kind of conditioning that was coming from everybody, and everyone's just kind of stepping up and up.
Yeah, so we can only hope that we see that type of conditioning from the men's 212 and the men's open tomorrow. Just a few hours from right now, I think it's probably 2:30 or so. Prejudging for the men's open starts tonight. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock. I think they're going to do the finals for bikini, finals for women's bodybuilding, some of the other rounds. Finals for women's physique is tomorrow. They might do figure finals tonight. You guys have to double-check the schedule. Apologize for that. But for now, I'm going to go hit up the expo, see if we can't post some more paparazzi pics. I know you got some stuff to do. I'm going to bring you guys lots more coverage. Make sure to tune back in tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll see how it goes down between Phil, Heath, Kai Green, and the rest of the men's open division. But for now, we are out. This is David Bay with the big sexy Louis Uredell from the 2014 Olympia weekend.